Domenico in the Room podcast with a very special guest. I have Nick Ortiz, fresh off his submission win last week at Enigma Invitational III. Brother, man, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing pretty well. I got done lifting with Nikki Ryan and Nikki Rod, so it's been a while since I lifted, but I'm just happy I got a little work, a little late night work in, and then I'm looking forward to eating some food later, and then just going to sleep. That's pretty much my life.
Nice, man. So you talk about lifting. How many times do you train a week? Getting in that, getting in that work.
Oh man. To be honest with you, it's so sporadic. Like there's weeks where like I'm consistent, and then there's some weeks where I just feel like it compromises my training because I'm too sore. That I just kind of put like a pause on lifting for a couple of weeks, and then I feel great. So I feel I don't know how to explain it. I feel like if I start lifting, I'm either sore or it just doesn't do good for my cardio. So I just kind of cut it a little bit, and then I feel at my best when I'm not lifting and just strictly training jujitsu. But I've
Excellent.
been lifting since I was 17. So
Wow.
from 17, I'm 29 now. So it's been over 10 years. So I feel like I've gotten that mature adult strength from a teenager to an adult. So I don't feel like I'm gonna get any stronger anytime soon if I just start lifting crazy or whatever the
Well,
case may be.
well, I have a lot of jujitsu friends, really, high level practitioners out there who a lot of them don't get in that kind of strength and conditioning or that training work. How does that help you in competition? Does that help you that extra strength because your muscle mass must be a little more denser than someone that doesn't get that that real weight training?
I personally think for me the most important thing when it comes to jujitsu, weightlifting is great for injury prevention, absolutely. But in terms of just, I'm not saying that it's not an advantage to have a strength advantage. It obviously is, but the most important advantage is to have a cognizant idea of the pace of the match. Understand? Because you can be strong, but let's say if it's a 15-minute match, what good is your strength going to do if you just go all in the first 2 minutes? You got 13 minutes left, as opposed to building to a peak when the strength should be almost like the cherry on top or the period at the end of the sentence. Like you did all this work, he's exhausted. Now you're afforded the luxury of using your strength when it's really time to use it. So that's how I like to see it. I don't like to see it as like I need to get strength and conditioning to be stronger than my opponent. Rather, I do want to be stronger than my opponent, but when it counts, when it really
Excellent.
matters.
Excellent. Well, my friend, let's talk about last week's tournament and an opponent you faced and that great win you had there, man. Let's talk about the Enigma Invitational because it was your first time there. How was the experience? How did you feel? I met you there, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But your personal experience and your feeling about the tournament because you've been to so many. What's your recollection of
A-
it?
That's funny. Actually, well, I'm still I would say, the infancy of my competitive career. Like that was actually the fifth time I've competed, and that's
Wow.
one of my biggest issues is that I don't, not that I don't put myself out there, but as soon as I was gonna put myself out there to compete, 2020 happened, and I was like, man, that sucks. And then so I didn't know how long it would take before I would be able to do tournaments or super fights. And now, slowly but surely, things are starting to starting to come back to normal. So I just hit a bunch of promoters up to just get my name out there, get just some kind of confidence going for myself in terms of just showing my work, my just the base of my work in front of people, on a stage, and that's the kind of opportunities that I have been looking for. And I'm glad because I was so nervous that who knew how long the whole
Yeah.
pandemic craziness was going to last. But in terms of the experience, I loved it. I loved the venue. I loved the fact more than anything how supportive the families and the friends of the competitors were. There were a lot of people there,
Yeah.
and not one mask, which was great. Nothing against people wearing masks. It's their prerogative. If somebody was there wearing a mask, that's cool too. But I
Exactly.
just like the idea that just people were there to have a good time. Nobody looked stressed. Everybody was there to support either their their family member, their teammate, et cetera, et cetera. So I really enjoyed the experience overall. Win or lose, I thought it was a really, really well run event. It ended early, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the food that was in like that area was just so good.
Yeah,
So it was just great. Yeah.
yeah, they really catered to the competitors there. They really, got you out there. They were really focusing on, getting the talent that was at this event out there and big eyes on it. What's funny about it, what I want to talk about is how I met you. Is I was part of the event. I did the post interviews with the winners, and I was sitting next to the commentators, bench there. And you sat next to me in a spare seat, and you're just sitting there in like clothes. It looks like you're ready to go out, have a couple of margaritas on the a beach boardwalk, hang out. You know what I mean? And I ask you your name, and you say it, and I go, "Are you the co-main event here today?" You go, yeah, yeah. And you said something interesting. You go, this is a beautiful thing what they're doing here. Like just what you just said about the atmosphere there. There was families there. There was coaches there watching watching their students thrive, and in front of a crowd, and in front of friends and family who haven't been able to be in front of something like this in so long, man. So it was a special day, and kudos to you for being a part of it and competing that day. I understand that you were in town. Like, as far as getting in this competition, how did you plan that? Because I heard you were in town videoing or something like that. Like, is that true?
Yeah. So I was originally going to be in I believe Massachusetts. I was going to fly into from Boston from the 3rd until like the 13th. I was going to do 10 days, but then I had to cancel that ticket because John needed help with the BJJ Fanatics half guard DVD. So I said, oh, okay, so I can probably get my money back. And BJJ Fanatics being a phenomenal company, they pretty much book your round trip ticket, and they handled the business in that regard. So I was able to help John with the DVD. I was able to get some training towards the end just to stay sharp with Placido. And then once that happened, once I was done, then I got a little more work in at Henslow Gracie, New Hampshire with Placido. And yeah, that's pretty much how I handled the situation. I wasn't nervous in the sense that I wasn't able to train from, I believe, Sunday to almost Thursday, because it was just primarily when you're in that situation of filming, you're filming from, we usually start around 12:15, and we're not done until maybe the latest, sometimes 7:30, 8 at night. So it's long, it's arduous, it's a lot. So at first I was like, man, I'm not really getting any training in. But as soon as I started working with Placido for the last couple of days, and even the warm up leading up to the match, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be fine. So.
And you spoke about that. I think, after that, you put a post out there how, happy you were with it, and you gave your thank yous to, who helped you out there. As far as the match, my man, great match. You went in there and you did your business pretty quick. You talk about, you haven't had many opportunities because, you're kind of early in this, but this was your 5th or 6th time in there. How'd you feel 5th or 6th time in front of this big crowd and a performance like that? Because you kind of took out Alex, who's, been rolling with Enigma for a little while now, and kind of a crowd favorite there.
Mm-hmm. No, Alex is a tough guy. First of all, I wanted to make sure that I was on my P's and Q's, so I definitely studied a few matches, saw what were his net positives, what were the negatives of his game, and I pretty much planned it out where I was going to play my game, and then any adaptations he made to me, I was just going to counter the adaptations, because I come from a place where everybody knows my game. But because everybody knows my game, I'm aware of what they do to me in response. So I'm already ready for the responses of anything that's being, that I'm trying to do in a sense. The match as a whole, I was honestly, I didn't feel anything. I just felt like I was just like, oh wow, I belong here. Oh, okay, let me do this. Like I'm not gonna pretend like the first or the second time I didn't have anxiety. To be honest with you, there is a level of anxiety, like your mind can start to play tricks, especially in the sense of just like the team I come from, right? Because you could start to think, oh man, what's the team gonna think? What's John gonna think? I don't want to disappoint the team. I don't want to blah blah blah. The more you think about that, the less you think about jiu-jitsu. And so I've had my moments where like it's just been horrible performances, but they never discouraged me enough to the point where I never wanted to compete again. If anything, I was just like, man, that sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, how much worse? How much worse can it get now? Like, you know what I mean? So let's keep doing it. And so the more I keep competing, the more I just feel like I'm in the kitchen eating cereal or something. It feels as natural as that. Like it's just like another day. Nothing crazy at this point.
Nice, man. Well, it looks like it looks like you flow great out there, man. A lot of eyes on you, and great success there. Let's talk about. I mean, you speak about John and stuff. Let's get to that, and let's get to how you got to this point. How did jiu-jitsu, become so important to your life? Where did you start? We don't have to tell every detail, but where did that passion start for you? How old, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so when I was 17, the UFC started to come on TV, mainly cable on Spike TV. And I was never, even when I was young, I never got into boxing, never enjoyed, I respect the striking arts, but it was never for me. It was never something that I looked at and I go, I can do that. The moment that the UFC fights would go into the ground, there was something intriguing about that. There was something intriguing about just these certain positions, the idea that you can control someone in that manner. And ultimately also the most attractive thing about the whole situation were these submissions, getting to positions where you dominate the opponent on the ground, and then you, from a hierarchy system, you work to different positions, and then you ultimately get the submission at the end. So I was like, man, I really, and what helped me think about this even more was just like, man, these are smaller guys that I'm watching. These aren't even, everyone's doing jiu-jitsu. It wasn't like a bias thing. It was like, wow, everyone from like the lighter guys all the way to the heavyweights have some kind of jiu-jitsu. And so I tried to approach that idea to my mom. You're 17, so I was like, Mom, I think I want to do. In the beginning, I thought I wanted to do MMA.
Yeah, so you said
you
throw MMA at her. She's like, wait.
Yes.
Like if you said jiu-jitsu right away, she probably wouldn't have known what that is. What you going to, you know what I mean? You say
right,
MMA.
you're doing taekwondo, exactly, some crazy shit. So I tell my mom this, and she's like, well, I said MMA because that was the path that would link me to this jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So I say that, and she goes, "Oh, the guys with the ugly ears? No, not my son." So that was kind of I was like, when you're 17, a little impressionable, it's very easy to get discouraged. So I go, all right, I guess I can't do that. Whatever, it's my mother, so I was like, whatever. So I went through life from 17 to 23, just doing odd jobs. I worked at supermarkets. I worked as a food runner. And nothing was fulfilling. Life felt kind of like I was in a void. I was making money, kind of, but not really, and not enough to. It wasn't enough money where I felt content with my own happiness. Where I was like, well, at least I'm self-sufficient. Like when I worked these jobs, I would make let's say no more than $225 a week. And so when you think about that, you go, man, I'm making $225 a week, not counting taxes. How am I supposed to live? This doesn't make, especially if I want to live on my own. I don't, you know what I mean? So I go, okay, I'm 23. I'm not really that happy, at least not happy with what I'm doing. Well, I'm going to do jiu-jitsu. I'm not going to listen to what anybody says. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do because I know even if I'm struggling, I'm going to be happy knowing that I made the decision on my own. It's my own decision, and I'm going to pursue this passion that I'm very serious about. And of course, in the beginning, people look at you like, oh, yeah, sure, you want to be a world champion or this, that, because it's in the beginning, and nobody knows your character. They don't understand that, they don't know the level of your integrity when you say things. You just say things and people brush you off because they've heard many people say things and not really mean it or, own it. So it was rough in the beginning. I started November 24th, 2015. I worked 2 jobs. So I worked at Party City and Toys R Us. And what I would do is I would train I would sleep. I would get as much sleep as possible. Then I'd go. I believe it was from 12 to 1. I could be wrong. 11:30 to 12:30. That was like the morning afternoonish class. Then I'd sleep on the mats. Then I'd go to Blink Fitness, get a lift in, take a shower because I wanted to be clean. Then we'd have a no-gi session from 5:30 to 6:30, and then from an hour because there was the Muay Thai guys that would come in and do their work. Then from 7:30 to 8:30, I'd do the gi class. Then after that, I'd immediately rush home to take a shower, and I'd do a night shift at Toys R Us from like 10 at night, sometimes till 7, 8, 9 in the morning.
Stocking
And then I would
shelves,
yes,
yeah.
yep. And the only thing keeping me going was music and thinking about jujitsu and just staying focused. Like I was maybe I was working at Toys R Us, but like I'm happy that I'm able to, do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I was passionate about it. Yeah. So I did that for a couple months until I felt burnt out. And then, Party City and Toys R Us left my life, but Jiu-Jitsu stayed. And I got a job at the gym I was working at. I pretty much cleaned the mats. I did what I could to make a little bit of money there so I could have some money in my pocket, all while staying in this environment that I craved more than anything. Because I wanted to be good, and I felt like, okay, if I'm going to be good, I need to be here every day, all the time, no matter what, whether it's my free time, if I'm not doing anything, right, I'm at the gym, I'm always thinking about it, I'm always asking my instructor questions. I was very, I just wanted it. I really wanted it because I didn't want to go back to just, working and not really feeling good about myself, in a sense. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it started for me.
So right now, where you are, I believe 29 years old. You mentioned, right? You just had a birthday at the beginning of the month, or correct?
May 3rd. Oh no. Well, not in June, but in May. Yeah.
All right, so not too far. All right.
Yeah.
So you're what, 23 years old. You're training in jiu-jitsu. You are 29 years old now.
Yeah.
How did you get from there to training with, Danaher and the Death Squad? I mean, in such a small. I mean, there's guys that it takes them 10 years to become like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, or 15 years. Here you are training with one of the deadliest and most known jiu-jitsu teams, in the world. You hear this name everywhere. How did you get there in such a short amount of time?
Well, so in the beginning, like I said, I trained at Evolution Muay Thai under Adam Benioun. Unbelievable instructor, and he pretty much gave me the foundation to where I feel like a lot of my game in the beginning and still to this day comes from a lot of what I learned from Adam Benioun in terms of just inside position, keeping a strong, having just a strong guard, because he still is, but back then more so, he was known for the guard, a lot of just like, pulling guard, his loop chokes, that sort of thing. So I got to that because I felt in my mind, I was like, okay, I can't do anything offensively. I don't know any offense. So why not I just be difficult to pass? And so that's what I worked on in the beginning. And then he moved to, I believe, Virginia to work with Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall gave him a really nice deal. So he pretty much took that opportunity. And then we got another instructor who came, and Herman Salas, and he was very, 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 probably one of the most talented people I've ever got the chance to roll with. It just didn't make sense how he was more intuitive than anything. Like it was almost like he was jiu-jitsu, the way he would roll. It just didn't make any sense. And so I learned how to be relaxed. I learned how to flow because of him. I learned not to be so tense. I learned how to really let my body weight do the work for me. And then he left. He got into some trouble, and I thought to myself, I was like, man, okay, it's already 2 instructors. I need consistency. I need somebody that's going to be,
Because you talked about is the passion. I mean, basically, jiu-jitsu is it for you. So you're rolling. So you need that constant. You need a structure that's going to stay there. So keep going. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no, it's okay. Yeah. So I go, man, that was 2 instructors. What? what that's where you kind of have to really like pump the brakes and be like, okay, am I going to stay here, or do am I going to do what's best for me, what I feel like is my best interest in terms of going in the direction of becoming a world champion? And I was like, well, Henzo's not so far. John Danaher is consistent. He has a team that's consistent. There's consistent guys that train 24/7 there. I don't have to worry about a situation where like I go and then like John disappears or something. You know, he's always there.
Yeah.
So I go, I gotta make the change for me and my benefit and what I want from my future in the sport. So May 3rd, literally on my birthday, 2018, I signed up with Renzo Gracie Academy, and the first class I took was with John, and then ever since then, it's pretty much been under John ever since.
Nice, my man. So,
Yeah,
what's your mother thinking right now about this right now?
she's I shockingly she's proud of me. I don't know where that came from. She's like, I always knew you. Oh my god! But to be honest with you, yeah, I mean, uh, me and my relationship with my mother's it's like like Hitler in Germany, very for lack of a better sense. Yeah, yeah. Like in the beginning, it's very Hitler in Germany, and then as we got older, we became friends because now
Yeah,
she doesn't see me as like her. I mean, she'll always see me as her son, but now she sees me as an adult
I understand.
who's really
She
yeah. So
was
the
strict.
whole
She
relationship has
she
changed.
was a strict mom.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Very. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I had one of those too, my friend. My mom was a born again Christian, and I was the last one born of a bunch of troublemakers. So she really had the vice grips on me. So
Oh yeah.
I feel you, brother. So you're at Renzo's with John, and now you're at you're in Puerto Rico at
Yes.
Combat 360. So you're moving around, man. How did you? Are you bound? Like how are you in Puerto Rico now? You were in New York, Bronx, New York. Now you're in
Yep.
Puerto Rico. How did that opportunity open up?
Okay, so the pandemic happened, and so Henzo Gracie was closed. But it was available. There was a little loophole where athletes were still allowed to train. That's something that was happening in New York, and I'm sure all across the United States. So we had for the pandemic, I want to say from February until we left, the best guys in the world, about like 15 people, just training in a room that's usually packed on a Monday or every day practically with like 100 to 120 people. Now the room is empty and it's only 15 of the best guys. And the most important thing for me is not that I didn't appreciate all the people that trained with us because it's multiple training partners, you get different looks. I loved that we had so much space to work our wrestling. You didn't have to worry about bumping into somebody. God forbid you accidentally, you know what I mean, run over someone.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people on the mat.
yeah,
But once it got dropped to 15 people due to the whole pandemic and we were training every day, I saw a significant elevation in my growth because I was able to hit moves. I had so much space to work moves and craft different things that I wanted to do without worrying about, let's say if I hit a Simigashi, am I going to bring my opponent, or I'm sorry, rather my teammate over, on top of like two other people who are rolling right
yeah.
next to me sort of thing. So then once that started to, once that was commencing, by the time we got to November, Gordon just randomly hit me up on WhatsApp. He's like, hey, man, we're going to Puerto Rico in 3 weeks. Are you down? And by this point in 2020, I'm practically homeless. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have a home. I'm bouncing from couch to couch. I'm making money personally training just just to have food.
Yeah.
Just to have food. But I'm practically homeless at this point. And so I just thought it was so there's something just ironic. Like I couldn't stop laughing. Like I was pretty much not at my wit's end because I wasn't going to give up jujitsu, but I was essentially in a position where like I had no place to go. It was just really rough, and opportunities for work were just not a thing. Not that I couldn't get a job, but it just would at that time it was so difficult with everything that was happening. So once Gordon said, "Hey man, we're moving to Puerto Rico. Are you down?" I was like, "What the fuck am I gonna do in New York? I can't.
Yeah.
Like, what more can New York give me
And
at
you
this
guys
point?"
are all going to Puerto Rico.
Right, exactly. So I was like, "Hey man, thank you so much. I appreciate you even reaching out and considering me." And I say, "Yeah." He told me around October, November. By the time it was December, I went to Florida to spend some time with my mother, and then the 10th of December, I was officially in Puerto Rico, and
Nice.
that's pretty much where I've been ever since. I've been here.
So I would imagine you're teaching, training, and what else is going on in Puerto Rico for you? I mean, you're a busy guy right now. What's going on other than training and coaching there?
That's it.
That's it.
That's
so,
literally
so
my life is a routine, and I like it to be that way. I'm not introverted, but I'm not extroverted either. I'm very much a guy who my social environment is training. And so I get a kick out of that. I get a kick talking to my teammates. We're pretty
yeah.
close. I like the bond and the engagement that I have with them. And then after I'm done training, I'm home. I'm cooking my food. I'm doing my laundry. I'm in my room. One of my favorite things to do, honestly, is just listen to music all day. I just listen to music. As I'm listening to music, I think about things that I want for myself, and that's pretty much all I do, really. Occasionally read, occasionally study if I'm thinking about certain moves or certain things that I want to implement in the training room later on, implement in competition. But yeah, besides teaching and training, sleeping and eating are the next two things behind that. That's pretty much it.
Well, my man, I mean, the passion's there for you, and it looks like the success is happening on the mat, and who you're training with, and the opportunities you're getting there. And you speak about things being ironic and stuff. Things happen for a reason, definitely, man. And I think
Yeah.
all you've been through, the good things are happening because of your experiences in the past, and definitely the passion and just this jiu-jitsu path that you've taken. A couple of last questions before I let you go and
Yeah,
give you
absolutely.
shout outs, man. As far as your path now, man, competitions are opening up. The world has opened up officially in the last couple of weeks. You were at one of the first tournaments with everything opening up, as you spoke about, no mask, man. What's the future right here with you and your competition and training and what's the goal here for Nick Ortiz?
Well, the number one goal is definitely winning ADCC. That goes without a shadow of a doubt. That's the only thing I probably, besides what I normally think about, which is obviously jujitsu. That's the thing I think about all the time. Like I think about the gold medal on my neck, how it would feel, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's all I honestly think about. So these competitions are just stepping stones leading me to the direction of just building my confidence to know that with the training in succession with the competitions, the people that I'm going up against, I could build myself up to know that I can do the same things that I'm doing at a local level at the highest level. Because I feel at the end of the day, again, with the mind, people like to just really overthink a lot of things, right? Like, maybe they're having success at a local level, but they think it's different once they reach the world, at the world class level. Not saying that it's not different. Of course, the opponents are much more difficult. They're a little more sharper, but that shouldn't deter you from what you need to do, which is your game at the end of the day. So as long as you understand, okay, if I'm doing this at a local level, I'm still going to do the same thing at the world class level. It's just going to be a little different, little maybe different looks. Maybe the guy, you know, is a little more. He has a little better situational awareness of what I'm trying to do, but it's not going to stop me. It's not going to break my confidence, at all with how I approach world class guys or how I approach, a guy from the local scene. It's all the same to me. But yes, the future is definitely just keeping on to this level of consistency with competing. I'm definitely going to do ADCC trials in November. I'm going to do all of them, see how I do. I would love to win trials and earn my spot at the ADCC World Championships in 2022. But yeah, that's the goal. I mean, I don't care how long it takes. I could be 50. I'll
Yeah.
still try to win ADCC. I don't think I'll be happy. Not that I'm not happy, but I don't think I'll be fulfilled in life until I win ADCC. That's how I feel.
Well, dude, in the amount of time where you've gotten to now, uh, you know, in 3 years, I can't wait to see where you're going to be then, man. Coming out of, the training camps and the training partners that you have behind you that you get to roll with, and just the minds that can help you out along the way, man. Great things, man. Great meeting you and all that. As far as, do you have any tournaments, anything that you're rolling with in the near future? Anything that you want to yell out there for people to check out?
I I'm in the works with a couple of things. Guys are trying to find me opponents at the moment. I know I'm definitely booked for September and November for Enigma Invitational to defend the 155-pound championship. So I'm really looking forward to that. I know Christos is working on getting some opponents, tough guys, and again, I just want to put myself out there, see what I can do, maybe do things differently. Maybe I won't go for legs this time. Maybe I will. Maybe the guy defends and I just go for the back or something. Maybe show. I think the next time I compete, I just want to show more range. That I don't want to get complacent. I don't want to be known as a guy who just attacks legs. It's really easy to get caught up in that and caught up in that kind of mentality where you just go for legs, and you don't really see the path to other avenues that the guy's giving you when he's doing the right things defensively. So I'm just looking forward to the competition getting a little more difficult so that I can show a wider array of my skill set that I have been working on. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to guys who maybe stall, I come up and wrestle. Looking forward to guys that are understanding of the leg lock game, and I use it to come up on top and pass the guard, that sort of thing. So,
excellent. Well, dude, like I said, pleasure meeting you. Pleasure hanging out with you afterwards. We had dinner at the after dinner. And learned a little bit about you there, and I definitely wanted to talk to you and get your story out there because it's a very special one. And man, we're going to be seeing a lot of you at Enigma, man. I'm very happy about that. Hopefully, we can get some more of maybe these up and comers that you're helping out along the way come to one of these tournaments also. So, my man, last thing, shout outs, social media. Thank yous. Anything you want to throw out there, man?
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, no. Instagram. Thank you. Instagram is Nick Ortiz Jiu Jitsu 718. Thank you, obviously, John Danaher Def Squad. They've made me just in a short amount of time. They've made me what I am, and I can only imagine how much further I can take this. Given the dedication and the consistency that I'm bringing to the table. And all they do in return is give me that same level of consistency and dedication, especially John. Like, John's always in pain. John's, just hurting all the time, and he's always there. Oh, I've never, it's very inspiring because, some days I wake up and I'm just hurting. And it's like, well, I got to be there because, there's somebody there who's hurting much worse than me. Who's hurting so much more than I. So it's like I can't let that be an excuse. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There are days where I can't turn my neck to the right, but I still go to class. I let John know. I'm like, John, my neck. I'm just gonna sit and watch. But in terms of just letting it be an excuse where I just stay home and do nothing, it's not really an option unless I'm literally I have the flu, then I don't want to come to the gym and give people the flu. But yeah. So yes, John Danaher, the Danaher Def Squad. Shout outs to my mother, the number one hater in my life. I appreciate her. If she wasn't a hater, if she didn't tell me I couldn't do things, then I wouldn't be able to prove her wrong. And now she cares, and now I'm living life. I'm doing my thing. So thank you, Mom. I appreciate you.
Tough love works, my man. Tough love works.
Tough love is Oh yeah. The toughest of love. No, it's very true.